Desperate family forced young daughter to marry Arab royalty. Tell us what country you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support means the world. No daughter of mine is coming back home unless it's as a princess, her father shouted, slamming the door in her tear-stained face. The girl, no more than 19, stood frozen, her suitcase by her side, and a heart shattered by betrayal. The luxurious black SUV idled at the curb, waiting to take her to a man she'd never met, a royal, nearly twice her age. But what neither she nor her greedy family knew was that this so-called marriage was only the beginning of something far darker. Great! Here is Chapter 1 of Desperate Family Forced Young Daughter to Marry Arab Royalty. Written in American English, simple grammar, and strictly over 1,500 words. It follows all your billionaire storytelling templates, including the new intro engagement line. The living room smelled like cheap cigarettes and fried onions. The couch had springs poking through the fabric, and the family's old TV sat on top of stacked phone books. In the middle of the chaos, her father's voice exploded like thunder. "You're not marrying for love. You're marrying for our survival." Tears welled up in Zara's eyes. She was 19, soft-spoken, beautiful, and deeply kind. But right now, she felt like nothing more than a pawn in someone else's game. "Dad, please. He's 35. I don't even know him. He lives in another country, another world. He's a prince," her mother snapped, slamming a glass on the table. "You think chances like this come twice? He can take care of all of us." Zara's younger brother sat in the corner, playing a game on his cracked tablet. He was too young to understand the weight in the room. Or maybe he understood too well and stayed silent out of fear. "I don't want to be someone's property," Zara said quietly. "You're selling me. You should be grateful," her father said, jabbing a thick finger in her direction. "We've lived in debt for years because of your school fees. You want to pay us back? This is how." She swallowed a lump in her throat. The tears were burning now. Just yesterday, Zara had been working a shift at the local bookstore, dreaming of saving up enough to apply for college abroad. She'd even started sketching outfits for her fashion portfolio. But today, she stood in a room where her dreams didn't matter. "They'll send a driver in the morning," her mother said calmly now. "A black SUV. You'll go to the hotel, clean up, and fly to Dubai with him in 2 days. You'll have servants, a palace, dresses." "A cage," Zara interrupted. "It's a golden cage." Silence. Then her father picked up her suitcase and shoved it into her hands. "If you walk out that door, you don't come back." The next morning, the air was cold and gray as the SUV pulled up to the curb. The driver, dressed in all black, didn't speak as he opened the door. Zara, wrapped in a worn-out hoodie and holding her small suitcase, hesitated. Behind her, the door didn't open. Her parents didn't even say goodbye. She stepped in. The seats were soft leather. The AC had a sweet vanilla scent, and the windows were tinted dark. She sat stiffly, staring ahead. Next to her was a thick folder with gold writing. HRH Prince Khalid bin Ahmed Al Rashid. Her heart dropped. She opened the folder. Inside were glossy photos of a tall, handsome man with a trimmed beard, expensive suits, and an unreadable expression. He looked powerful, cold. There was also a contract, marriage terms, rules, her monthly allowance, expectations. One sentence made her skin crawl. Wife must maintain physical beauty at all times and refrain from public opinion or political conversation. Zara closed the folder. She looked out the window as the car drove into the city. A part of her hoped this was just a bad dream. That night, she stayed at one of the most luxurious hotels in the city. Glass elevators, gold-lined halls, and staff who barely looked her in the eyes. A stylist knocked on her door. "You have to try on these dresses before the prince arrives tomorrow." Zara said nothing. She stood still as they zipped and adjusted and fluffed her hair. "I don't want to do this," she whispered to herself in the mirror. She thought about escaping. But go where? Her family had cut her off. She had no money, no passport now. She was trapped. The following afternoon, Prince Khalid arrived in a Rolls-Royce. The entire hotel lobby stood still when he walked in. Tall, sharp jawline, rich cologne, a calm but commanding presence. He smiled slightly when he saw her. "You must be Zara." She stood awkwardly, unsure how to greet him. "You are younger than I expected," he said, "and more timid." Zara forced a polite smile. "It's nice to meet you, Your Highness." They sat for tea. His assistant hovered nearby, taking notes. Khalid spoke softly, but every word was loaded with authority. "I don't expect love immediately. I expect loyalty, beauty, discretion. You'll be educated under private tutors and trained for royal duties." Zara nodded. "And if I say no?" He didn't answer at first. Then he leaned in. "Your family signed the agreement. It's binding. You belong to me now." She nearly dropped her teacup. He stood. "We leave for Dubai in 2 days. Enjoy your last walk of freedom." That night Zara ran. Not away from the hotel. She had nowhere to go. But she ran outside to clear her mind. She walked to a nearby park and sat on a bench, trembling. She buried her face in her hands and cried. That's when someone sat beside her. A stranger. A tall man with kind eyes and messy hair. "You okay?" he asked. She looked up, startled. "I saw you earlier," he said. "In the hotel. You looked like a bird with clipped wings." She said nothing. He reached into a bag and pulled out a sandwich. "You hungry?" She hesitated. He laughed. "It's not poisoned." She took it, and they sat in silence. Then she finally spoke. "I'm being sold." The man blinked. "Sold?" She told him everything, the family, the prince, the contract. He listened quietly. Then he said, "You don't deserve that. You deserve freedom, choice, love." She laughed bitterly. "Easy for you to say." He turned to her, his eyes suddenly intense. "Zara, I'm not who I appear to be." She frowned. "What?" He pulled something from his pocket. A royal ID. Khalid bin Ahmed al-Rashid. Her breath caught. "You what?" "I needed to see who you are. Without the palace, the pressure, the diamonds." She stepped back. "You tricked me. I protected myself. But I saw your pain. And now I see your strength." Zara was speechless. Khalid stood. "I'll cancel the wedding. Tear up the contract. If you ever marry me, it will be your choice." He walked away, leaving her frozen on the bench. For the first time in days, Zara felt something like hope. Zara sat on the cold park bench long after Prince Khalid walked away. Her mind was spinning. The sandwich lay forgotten beside her. He had pretended to be a stranger. Sat beside her. Spoke gently. Listened. That wasn't what she expected from a royal. But it also wasn't fair. He had tricked her. Played a role. She stood up slowly, her knees still weak. The city lights glimmered in the distance. But all she could think about was the burning question. Why would a billionaire prince test her like that? Back at the hotel, Zara found her room empty except for a single envelope on the bed. She opened it. Inside was a handwritten note in elegant script. "Zara, you were never for sale. But I had to know if your heart still had light despite your pain. You passed every test. I leave your future to you. Khalid." Beneath the note was a black credit card, an open plane ticket to any destination, and the signed and torn marriage contract, shredded at the signature. Zara's hands trembled. Was it real? The prince had set her free? But what now? The next morning, her phone buzzed. Private number. She hesitated, then answered. Zara? The voice said. It's me, Khalid. Her throat went dry. Why are you calling? I know you're confused, he said. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But I didn't do this to hurt you. I did it to protect myself. Every woman before you came for the gold, the crown, the palace. But you didn't even ask for a dress. That's because I never wanted to be there, she snapped. I was forced. I know, he replied calmly. And that's why I destroyed the contract. Zara stayed silent. I'll be flying back tonight, he said. If you ever want to talk, meet me on the rooftop garden before midnight. The call ended. Zara stared at the phone. That evening, she sat in the hotel restaurant, alone, her dinner untouched. A couple beside her laughed over wine. A woman at the far end was filming her dessert for social media. Everyone had somewhere to be, someone to love, except her. She looked at the black card in her pocket. With that card, she could leave, fly to Paris, start fresh. But she also thought about the man in the park, the man who listened, who offered her food, who saw her not just as a bride but as a person. Could that man and the prince be the same? At 11:40 p.m., she stood up. The rooftop garden was empty, just stars, silence, and a soft breeze. Then she saw him, leaning on the balcony, staring at the skyline. He turned. You came. She nodded. I had to know why. I was born into a world of lies, Khalid began. People have always wanted me for my money, my title. My own cousins plotted to marry me off to gain power. I wanted something real. So you tested me? I wanted to see if you could love a man without the crown. If you could care about someone with dirt on his shoes, not gold on his wrists. Zara crossed her arms. That's still manipulation. He nodded. Yes, and I'm sorry, but you surprised me. Silence stretched between them. Then she whispered, You said you'd tear up the contract. But what about my family? They're still expecting money. I've already sent them something, he said. Not millions, just enough to get by. And I told them, you are no longer theirs to sell. Her heart jumped. You did that. I don't want to own you. I want to earn you. Zara looked away. I don't even know who I am anymore. I gave up everything for them. My dreams, my freedom. And now I'm supposed to just trust you. No, he said. Not trust. Just start. He pulled out something from his coat pocket. A sketchbook. My assistant said you left this in the stylist's room. Zara blinked. That's mine. I saw the designs. You're talented, passionate. You want to be a fashion designer, don't you? She nodded slowly. Then let me help you, he said. No strings, no marriage, just support. Let me fund your education in Milan or Paris, wherever you want. And when you're ready, truly ready, maybe we can have dinner. Just as equals. Zara stared at him. No one had ever offered her freedom like that. Not her parents. Not her teachers. Not even the world. But this prince, who could have made her a prisoner, was setting her free. I don't want your money, she whispered. Then take the opportunity, he replied. It's yours. No contract. No crown. She looked down at the sketchbook. Her dreams were in these pages. Designs she made late at night. She had forgotten who she was. Until now. 1 year later, Zara stood backstage at her first fashion show in Paris. Her name lit up in gold letters behind the runway. Zara Rising, Her parents hadn't come, but that was okay. She had new friends, a new life, a new story, and in the front row, dressed in a sharp black suit, sat Prince Khalid, no crown, no press, no entourage. Just him, smiling, clapping. When the show ended, she walked toward him. He stood. They didn't say anything at first. Then she said, "Dinner." He smiled. "Finally." She laughed. "As equals. As partners," he said. They walked into the Paris night, side by side. Not prince and peasant. Not rich and poor. Just a man and a woman who found freedom in each other. It was the headline of the year. Arab prince spotted at Paris Fashion Week supporting unknown designer. Zara woke up to her name trending worldwide. Social media users were in shock. Is she the new Meghan Markle? They said she was forced into marriage. Now she's flying private jets. From broken to billionaire supported. What's the real story? But while the world speculated, Zara focused on what mattered most. Designing her next collection. Alone. Without Khalid. They had agreed on space. No contracts. No labels. No romance until she found her footing. And now, with 6 months left in her Paris scholarship, Zara was rising fast. Her designs blended culture and rebellion, luxury and freedom, but something was missing, or rather, someone. One evening, after hours of sketching, Zara wandered into a small cafe in Montmartre. The air was filled with jazz, and just as she ordered tea, she heard a familiar voice behind her. "You still drink mint tea with 2 sugars?" She turned. Khalid, in casual clothes, no security, holding a rose. Zara froze. "What are you doing here?" "I waited," he said. "You asked for time. I gave you that. But I've watched your shows, read your interviews. You're glowing, Zara." She smiled softly. "Thank you." He looked down. "But I didn't come for fashion." Zara raised an eyebrow. "I came for permission." "Permission for what?" He stepped closer, voice low. "To ask if I can finally take you out to dinner. Not as a test, not as a prince, but as a man who never stopped thinking about the girl on the park bench." Her breath caught. So much had changed. But this moment, this was the one she'd waited for. She nodded. "I'd like that." Fast forward 6 months. Zara's brand ZR Studios opened its first flagship store in Dubai. Not because Khalid asked, because she chose. The store launch wasn't royal funded. Instead, Zara turned down his offers and took investors after 3 global shows. She became the youngest designer ever to open at Dubai Mall with her own label. That same night, as flashbulbs exploded and models cheered, Khalid pulled her aside. "I know you don't need me," he said, voice proud. "But do you want me?" Zara didn't reply with words. She leaned in, kissed him softly, and whispered, "Let's write our story, our way." Back home, Zara's family watched it all unfold from a modest apartment in Cairo. Her father, once stubborn and controlling, now looked ashamed. "How did she become this powerful?" he whispered. Her mother wept. "We tried to sell her, but she sold the world a better version of herself." Final scene. A year later, Zara and Khalid sit beneath a tree in Morocco during a private charity event for girls rescued from child marriage. Zara speaks to the crowd. "I was once told I was only valuable if I married into money. But every stitch I sewed, every dress I dreamed up, every night I cried and refused to give in. That was where my value truly lived. Today I don't wear a crown. I don't live in a palace. I live in my purpose. And that's enough." Thunderous applause. Khalid stands beside her. Not in front. Not above. Beside. The girl who was once desperate and sold like a token, had become the queen of her own empire.